Hey, what's up guys? So today we're gonna go ahead and do the rear suspension bearings on this 1994 CR250. I've been filming this video for about a month now. When I got to the swing arm and I pulled the bearings out of it, the pivot holes were super out of round and just so chewed up from not having literally any bearings in them. They were just gone. So the welder that I took it to, he said it was more economical to just buy a new swing arm. So I searched for a while. Apparently a 94 swing arm is a one-off year, which is super frustrating, by the way. And I actually was sent a 1996 CR250 swing arm that was advertised as a 94. So I had to send that back, get my money back, and then buy another one from a gentleman in Minnesota. So here we go again, I guess. So I'm going to start with the linkage, and then I will move on to the swing arm. Hopefully this swing arm goes a little better. Yeah, so let's get going. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to get rid of these bushings. Okay, so there we go. That thing was in there. Look at all that rust. There we go. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and get that out of there. There's a bushing right here. See that? I'm gonna try not to, oh, and I lost him. Gonna see if I could keep the bearings all in one spot so you guys could see it. Oh, yeah, it's all dropping out. Just tons of rust. These bearings needed to be replaced. Shoot, back when I was in college, probably like 10 years ago. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna be saving these bearings, so these are legit stuck in there. There we go. Okay, all the bearings are out of there. Next one. Come on, you bastard. Got him. Number two. That was way easier. Oh, this bearing looks a lot better than the other one. Somebody must have just ran out of time and forgot to put grease in this one. Oh boy. Look at that guy. This is the lower shock bearing. There we go. That's the one that kind of swivels. Okay. I have like 15 of these metal plate or magnetic plates, and they're the best. Okay. There we go. Okay, all of these bearings are now ready to get removed. Okay, so I am going to do my best to get this all in one shot here. You're going to be using a variety of sockets. One thing that I would advise right out the gate is to use a deep socket for your catcher socket. This is a 32 millimeter deep socket. We're going to be using a 24, a 22, and a 17 millimeter for this linkage. Also, go to Ace Hardware and grab some map gas. You might need it to convince these bearings to come out a little easier if you're having trouble. So heat is your friend. Let's get going. I'm gonna use this 24 millimeter, and it's not quite big enough. Okay. I try to center these kind of in the middle of the sockets best I can so it's straight. Okay. You'll feel it start to give. You're gonna want to hold it too, because once you get it all the way out there, it's gonna fall. Okay, next we're gonna do the lower shock bearing. That's gonna be this guy right here. And 17 millimeter socket. There we go. Lower shock bearing. That's the one that kind of swivels a little bit. Okay, so this next bearing is going to be a little more difficult. It's got quite a bit of rust in it. You can get a good angle there. Also, it looks like there's a lip in there, so you got to get the socket just right in there, just on the bearing race there. So what I'm going to be doing here is using this 19 millimeter socket and a piece of wood just to get part of the bearing moved a little bit, so it'll be easier to push with the catcher on the back of it. Gives you a little bit of a place to like get it to sit. If you got the bearing race kind of pushed in a tad bit. I think that's it. So what that did was it gave us a little lip for the socket to sit in, so it won't just walk away on you. I hope that makes sense. So this has been moved maybe a couple millimeters, and this just sits in there. Okay, I'm gonna get it all centered up in there. There it goes. She's moving. Got the old bearings out of the linkage, no problem. There's 3 of the 4. I lost the other one when it fell, but we're gonna do the dog bone next. Okay, so we're gonna do the dog bone now. So we're gonna remove these bushings. I don't think we need them, I can't remember. I did throw away some bushings out of some forks at one point that I needed. That was a real bad day. There we go. Let's get rid of the race, whatever you want to call that thing. Oh, damn. Hey, those are actually staying in there. Let's take our bunch of bearings. Not the worst I've ever seen, but there's definitely a lot of rust in here. I always wonder whenever I'm doing these, if this is like the first time a bike's ever had them done. I've only ever done like a 2022 Yamaha I did. Those were all right. They just were dry. But almost every single, I think there was maybe one other one, like CR250 that I bought from an old guy. The linkage he had was, the bearings were fine, but they were just dry. But most of the time, they always look like this, where they're completely rusted out. Okay, so I didn't realize this, but there are actually washers on either side of this, and I didn't realize it because there was so much rust around this. So I threw some WD-40 on there and scratched quite a bit of it off, but I think it's gonna come up now. There you go. Now do the other one. Come on, baby. There you go. Now it's just the bare races at this point, or bearings. Also, there is a lip on the outside, so we're gonna do the same thing to this one as what we did with this hole in the linkage. See, there's a lip in there. Same sort of situation right in there. Okay, so we're gonna do the whole wood thing again, where we get a little bit of the bearing pushed in that way. Well, this is actually really easy. At least this one is. Okay. So I got quite a bit of it out already. So we're gonna switch it to the catcher socket now. Okay. Again, switching to the 32mm deep socket so we can catch these sockets, these bearings that are coming out of this dog bone. There we go. Again, there's 2 of them in there, 1 on either side. This one should be pretty simple. Most of them are already loose from when I was cleaning this swing arm up, so cut that here without cutting myself. Nice toss. This one on the other hand, oh, and they're coming. Oh, fuck, I'm gonna find these on the ground and like, okay, got washers. You got these, I don't know what you call this one on the end. Just some kind of a bearing. You got another washer there. This is just pieces of bearing. This might be the worst swing arm bearing I've ever seen. I'm gonna have to probably cut this out, to be honest with you. We got it done. I've never seen something like that before. Let's see, there it is. There's one side, there's the other. I'm actually going to be using, I'm not going to be freezing this bearing in here. Oh no. Oh no. Anybody got any good ideas? Because this is supposed to sit right there, and it doesn't. I'm not sure how this happened, but is my swing arm toast? Removing swing arm bearing, take 2. All right, so our contraption that we're gonna be using is this piece of ball thread with a washer on the backside. We're gonna then put that on the bottom down here. And then this is a 20, whoa, shit, that's fucking hot still. I already tried to do this once and it didn't work. And then we're gonna go ahead and put it on there. Let me demonstrate. moving. It's coming out. Giving it a little bit of pressure and then heating her up. Really makes a difference. Now it's just moving no problem. I'm sure you guys will figure something out easier than what I'm doing right now with the one wrench that's going to take me 100 years. Because this washer is bending in. Anyways, you get the hint. That's how you do it. After some just tightening that up, the bearing is right there. Pretty close coming out. So just keep working at it. They have to come out from the inside of the swing arm. Okay, we got the first one out of there. Bearing is not that bad on this swing arm. So, but definitely beats cutting it off, that's for sure. Hear that? He's moving. All right, now it's free. I can go ahead and just push it out by hand. God, you don't have to do this more than twice. The other swing arm just had a bearing race in it, and that's it. Literally no bearings in there, no needle bearings at all. There you have it. Finally, we got a swing arm with no bearings in it. Now I can go ahead and clean it up. I'm gonna put the I don't even know what you'd call those wheel adjusters, I guess, from the other one, and they were in way better shape than the ones that came on this thing. And I'm just gonna clean this up, and I'm gonna see if I can't fix these like dings and stuff like that to make it a little better. But in all reality, what's the point? There you have it. Those are all the old bearings that were in the suspension, you know, dog bone, and the dreaded swing arm. So I'm really excited to throw those away. These are all ready to rock and roll. We're going to go ahead and start installing them. Personally, this is like the easiest part. Getting them out is the devil, basically. So if you got this far, thanks for watching my video. I am really shocked that I had to cut these out. I've never had to do that, and this is not my first rodeo with suspension. So now we're going to go ahead and install these bearings, but the first step before you do anything, go throw these in the freezer. We are going to install each bearing one at a time, and then when we install it, we're going to put the seals in and any side collars that needs to be in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a zip tie in between there. That way we can work on the other ones without worrying about this one or this one or this one falling apart. Also, we're not going to use that pivot work stuff. We're going to use good old Maxima waterproof grease. Let's get started. In order to get this actually started into this hole, this swivel bearing, I'm going to heat this up and see it. And I've got the bearings in the freezer, obviously. I'm just going to see if it'll work, just to get it started a little bit. So it's pretty close. There we go. So as you can see, it's a little deeper on this side than this side. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm gonna go ahead and move it this way. Be very gentle, because you're gonna have to measure this. That's about even on both sides. I'm gonna measure it, but we're gonna put some grease in there, like inside there, and move it around a little bit. Then we're gonna put the seal in. Apparently the seal goes upwards, like the open part goes up, and then you put the collar in there. Okay, so now that we've got this pretty much dialed in there, use a socket to push it back in to this hole. Just for clarification, this bearing needs to be centered in the middle of the linkage, and there should be right around 4 millimeters on each side of the bearing. Sorry guys, 24 millimeters is what I should have been using to do this job and to seat this bearing into the right spot. Okay, let's check that. Pretty close. Watch those bearings so they don't fall out on you. 3.75 on this side. So we need to go in a little further. That's the wrong one. .407. .425. I'm gonna leave it there. It's off by 0.1 millimeters. That took entirely too long. Okay, so we're going to get some grease. I would use a glove if I were you. You move it towards the outside of the bearing. You don't want to roll it, otherwise you could potentially pull the bearings out of there. And if you do that, there's a chance you'd lose them, and that's no good. So I'm actually going to put a little bit around the lip there. Technically, you can never have enough grease, or too much grease, I should say. Okay, we're gonna put the open end downwards, so the factory markings facing out. There we go. To the other side, and press it in there. Now, we are going to grab our pivot collar. I think it's this one, at least on my end. We're gonna find out here in a second. It should be a perfect fit. You do not have to grease this, obviously. You can if you want to, but it seems like a waste of time. In fact, no, don't grease it. Okay, see, you're gonna have a whole bunch of grease coming out of there. And there you have it. You got the second one done. Go ahead and clear that up a bit. Probably a bunch on this side. Yeah, a little bit. And there you go. We're going to put a zip tie in there just to keep it still for a bit. Okay, we're going to do the last one here. There's going to be 2 bearings. And there's a little bit of a gap between the 2, just so you know. So you want to just get it flush with this edge here. You're going to want to get a socket that fits just right inside there, so it presses it just flat against this lip here, okay? So what I'm doing is just pressing it in just to get it started without the socket. That way it's like started. So I'm going to take this 24, where is it? 24 millimeter socket, and it'll stop it from going too far in. You don't have to measure it or anything at this point. It's just got to be flush. See how it's pressed in there and it's flush with that lip there? That's how you want the other one to be as well. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one off camera. Okay, so we've got both sides in and they're flush. We're gonna do the same thing on both sides. Get that maximum. There's a gap in between those two bearings, so be liberal with it. Like I said, I think that the pivot work stuff is fine. I just use this Maxima stuff for literally everything, so. Okay, pretty good grease there. Okay, first thing that goes on there is some washers. There's 2 on each pack, obviously. Next is your dust seal. It's gonna go factory writing on the outside, so open side is gonna face downwards. Next, we're gonna do the other side. Perfect. Okay. Then you're gonna slide this guy in there. There you go. A bunch of grease came out of the other side. Okay, pivot collar. Doesn't matter which side it goes. Pivot collar. And there you go. Your linkage is completed. And of course, we're gonna go ahead and throw a zip tie in there because we still have to do our dog bone. Last but not least, we have the dog bone. The dog bone bearings are the same process as this linkage bearing. There is a lip right here. You're gonna wanna press the bearing in using a socket that's gonna not go past this lip. It's on both sides. There will be a big space between there. So obviously, once you get the bearings in, you're gonna put your washers in. You're gonna put this thing, I never remember what those are called. These dust seals and these pivot collars in. Like I said, the exact same process. Get a bigger socket than this hole, shove it in there, and repeat. I probably don't have to do this again, but I want to show you guys how this goes. I already got it started. I stopped myself before I went too far. Okay, so you want to get it almost flush with the dog bone where it's at. Pull it back. .24mm socket. Okay. Line it up. Start pushing. Likes to walk on me. Okay, there you go. Flush. I'm gonna do the other side. Okay, time for grease. You already know. Again, here we go. Put in such as that. Okay, so put this guy in there. Be very careful. There we go. And look at all that grease. Okay, time for washers. Flat side down. Washers. Okay. Open side down. Just for good measure. Probably doesn't need it, but I'm paranoid. There's little pockets in there. You don't have to do that. That's just something I do. Okay. There we go. Pivot collars, there's one. And there's two. That's all there is to it. Linkage is officially completed. New bearings on all of them. Now we get to move on to the swing arm. Like I said in another video, I really do believe that just removing the old bearings is more of a hassle than installing them. Like, you know, you saw like how quick it was just using the vise and not having to use the socket to catch the other sockets, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a zip tie through there, and then we're gonna start on that swing arm, and we are in the downward slide of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, that's for sure. I got this swing arm all cleaned up. Still got a Prime MX pad it, but otherwise it's pretty damn close to the other one. Yo, check this out. This is what the difference Prime MX pads make on stuff like this. What about that shit? Go get you some. Okay, so it's time to go ahead and put these beautiful bearings into this beautiful swing arm. So this is how you should have your hardware laid out here. You got your collars, you got your seals, you got your washer, you got your other bearing, you got your washer, you got your real bearings, which you should put in the freezer, by the way. Your pivot collar, I think that's what that's called, and then some more seals. So I'm using the Pivot Works kit for this 94 CR250. Let's go. I'm going to use that vise over there. I figured I would put this diagram in the video just because I love you guys. So this is for the 94 CR250 and 125. And if you've got a 93 or a 92 CR250, here's a bonus for you. I just get it started just by, you know, using the vise with no sockets or nothing. But I wanted to just stress that you need to have the markings from the manufacturer facing out. So keep that in mind. Okay, this is how I'm starting it. I'm just kind of holding it. I'm holding the bearing against this part right here and just making sure that it lines up and everything lines up perfectly and it's in the right hole. So there you go, starts to move. These are also, as I said earlier, these have been in the freezer, so it's a lot easier to get these to kind of go in there. Just be prepared. Again, this is the second one. Look how easy this is, you guys. I've been working on this job for over a month, waiting for the correct parts, and this could have been done in just like 30 seconds almost. I really love when a plan comes together like this. And when this is plan like C, D, or maybe E. I was so disappointed when that eBay seller sent me a 96 shock. At least I got it done.
saw a TikTok or some quotes on TikToks a couple of times where it said,
dude, Travis in Minnesota sold me this swing arm, so I'm pretty stoked. He was a really good guy. Shout out to Travis. His last name is, I'm not going to say it, his own privacy, but those, a lot of those Facebook groups, man, definitely can be kind of sketchy dealing with people, but he was cool.
Grapes, but not wine.
Okay.
He created people that want to create something. So it's so that we as humans
it's not wanting to go in all the way.
Would it be a sin if you're kind of changing what?
There we go.
Is it a sin to dye your hair or to get a haircut or in the Old Testament maybe?
Look at that. Beautiful bearings.
Let's say like when God created
both sides.
Would it be against whatever your religion or God?
All right.
To basically say God
final stretch.
And I'm changing what God.
I already got this side done, mostly because there's some damage to this little bit of the swing arm here. So I had to kind of finesse this gasket in here, or the seal in here. So I'm gonna just show you guys on the other side that's actually in perfect shape. So let's go ahead and do this. Already got your grease in there. You're gonna take your washers. There we go. There's one. Gonna get your other, I think this is your, I guess your flat bearing. I don't know. I'm just gonna dip it in some grease real quick. You probably don't have to do this, but since it's got bearings on there, I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyways. Again, you don't have to do that, but put that guy there. Get your seal. Put your seal in there. Okay. Looks like this one's a little bit out of round as well, but not as bad as the last one. Let's see, where's that washer? Where's that? See, I might just tap it a little bit. See what happens there. There we go. Be careful not to roll that seal. That wouldn't be good. Just want it flush. Kind of like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it's still a little bit out of round there. That's all right. That's okay. That's a swing arm. Okay, so you're gonna put your collar right there. We're gonna flip her over. Let's see, is that all in the right spot? You know, this could use a little further on this side. I think that's good. It's gonna sit against the frame anyways, so not a big deal. And last but not least, we got, well, technically not last but not least, got our last little seal that goes on the inside there. This thing to cooperate a little bit. I'm just using the back end of a punch just from Harbor Freight. Okay, so there you go. The last but not least, this guy. Just push her in there, and it sits up against that collar. Cool. Officially got that done. Finally. Okay guys, so got the rear suspension bearings all replaced in this 1994 CR250. This took me way longer than I thought I would, and definitely involved 3 different swing arms. The next step with the rear of the bike is to send the rear shock to my friend Sean McAllister at RG3 Big 4 Motorsports in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Sean does a great job. If you need a suspension guru, go ahead and give him a call. Again, he's in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but he's the only guy I have do my suspension if I don't do it myself. But anyways, this bike is really coming together. I'm getting really excited about it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and have a good weekend.